Episode 1: Daily Life and Battle in Paradise. The day after Sho decided to participate in the proxy war on a large scale, involving the universe. Yet, he went to school as usual, finished his studies as usual, and got ready to go home as usual. Many of his classmates were still in the classroom in a friendly mood, all of them rivals who would be competing with Sho. As Sho put away his notebooks and pens in his bag, a healthy, brown-skinned, energetic girl, Dirge Shank, approached him. "Hey, Sho, let's go home early, okay? Let's harpoon fish together again today." "Oh, sorry, Dirge. I have to go to Minamata-san's after school today." Minamata-san's place? Why? Dirge showed a disgruntled face. Her question was answered by the girl sitting next to Sho. You're talking about the proxy war, right?" "Oh, yeah, that's right, Aaliyah. It was only yesterday, you know." "Dirge, why don't you give up today and go catch some fish by yourself?" "Ugh. It's so boring being alone." "Oh, then let's do it together, Aaliyah." "Come on, you haven't done anything lately, have you?" "No. I'll break down if I have to deal with the brainless Dirge. I'm an intelligent person, not a manual laborer." Aaliyah Balta, a girl who was distressed at being tangled up with Dirge, preferred indoor hobbies such as tinkering with machines, but she still has more stamina than normal girls her age. However, from Aaliyah's point of view, Dirge's physical strength was inexhaustible. Another girl appeared in front of them, tapping her abacus-shaped vocalizer lightly and saying, "Aaliyah, I think you should work out a little too. I don't want you to fall over again at your next part-time job." Ugh. Apuesta Daruma, a quiet girl who, for some reason, rarely spoke with her own voice and usually used her Soroban vocalizer for conversation. Aaliyah looked more and more uncomfortable as she was told the truth by her. She's right, Aaliyah. If you don't get your act together soon, you might lose the next battle to Sho." The last person to appear was Palti Jurai, who had a beautiful smile on her face and gave Sho the impression that she was a reliable older sister. "What? Lose to Sho? Haha, that's not possible. I'm not so far gone that I'd lose to a beginner like Sho. Haha, but we lost the other day, didn't we?" "Oh, that wasn't a loss. We were stopped in the middle of the fight, so it's invalid. Besides, it wasn't a formal fight in the first place." "Ooh, don't want to remember that time." "Yeah, I guess you're right. I haven't heard that sound in a long time." Both Dirge and Aaliyah's expressions darkened slightly at Apuesta and Palti's words. At that time, Sho was cornered by the four of them and accidentally scratched the blackboard. Sho laughed as he recalled the incident and apologized. "I'm sorry." "No, it's okay. It's okay, Sho. Isn't Minamata-san waiting for you?" Sho hurriedly stood up and slung his bag over his shoulder. "That's right. Well then, guys, I'm going to go first today. I don't think I'll be gone that long." "Oh, can you take care of P and Pio for me?" "Yes, we'll take care of them." "That's right. Go ahead, Sho, do your best." "Sho, I'll have dinner ready for you." Have a good day, Sho." Pio. The four of them smiled, and in Dirge's hand was an incubator with 2 healthy chicks growing in it. Life with the 4 of them and the 2 chicks had almost become an irreplaceable part of Sho's daily life. "Yeah. Thanks, guys. I'm off." Thus, Sho waved to the 4 girls in their uniforms and left the classroom, running towards the school infirmary. "Good afternoon. I'm sorry to keep you waiting." And so Sho arrived at the infirmary, where Minamata and Myron were waiting. "Hello, Kokoma-kun. We've been waiting for you." "Oh! Welcome, Sho-kun." Minamata, dressed in an aloha shirt, was the island's administrator and surrogate war monitor. He was a fearless but gentle man who cared for Sho at every turn. At his side are 4 adorable little creatures, the Cabots. They were mysterious creatures that can understand human language. Myron, on the other hand, doubled as a schoolteacher and the doctor on the island. She was a genius who had graduated from college with a university degree, and she was glamorous, perfect-looking, and blonde, but she had a reputation for having a very difficult personality. She was also an observer in the proxy war. Well, sit down. Here, I'll give you a taste of what it's like to be an adult. Oh, thank you very much. Sho sat down on the pipe chair, unconcerned about the phrase that would normally have made him nervous, but at the same time she poured black coffee into a mug she had prepared and handed it to him. In other words, this is what she called an adult's taste. Sadly, the fact that he was now able to accept such adult jokes was a result of being pushed around so much by Myron. Well then, Kokoma-kun. I'd like to talk to you about the future. Yes. At Minamata's serious face, Sho also straightened up his posture to listen. First of all, are you sure you want to join this fight? Yes. I haven't changed my mind. Sho replied clearly, but Minamata had a blank expression on his face. Do you think the strength of your resolve is due to that blackboard? Sho thought for a moment when he was asked that question. It was true that at that time, when the four girls attacked him, the sound of the blackboard that he scratched by accident was enough to neutralize Dird and the others. It was because of this weakness that Sho decided to join the fight. He thought that if he could use it well, he might be able to stop the girls. I think that's the biggest thing. As long as I can use that sound, I should have a reasonable advantage, right? That may be so, but if I can use that to somehow get one of the four girls' groups to give up, maybe the other three will reconsider. No, that's not the problem. Minamata looked reluctant, and Sho returned the question with a puzzled look on his face. Myron, who was sipping her coffee, interrupted him from the side. What Minamata wants to ask is whether Shokuen will really be able to attack those girls when the time comes to fight, right? Isn't that right, Minamata? Minamata. Yeah. As far as I can tell, you're not cut out for fighting. No, not in terms of talent or anything like that. It's more of a personality thing. I can't really imagine you fighting Dird and the others. Minamata-san. Knowing Minamata's concern, Sho had mixed feelings. Then he thought, would he be able to fight Dird and the others? Could he use the power that they also have, the Guardian system, to fight them? I don't know about that. No, I'm sure I can't fight them. Even when they attacked me at school before, I was just defending myself. I couldn't attack them in any way. Then why did you join? I thought that if I could use that sound, the sound of the blackboard, well, I might be able to stop them. Hearing Sho's opinion, Minamata nodded mysteriously. I see. Kokoma-kun's goal is to keep this battle at a stalemate. It's true that using that sound might be able to neutralize Dird and the others. But that will lead to a collapse someday. But before that, if we can somehow convince Dird and the others to stop the war, that's going to be difficult. Because whether or not to quit the game, it's not something that can be decided by their own will. Kokoma-kun. Sometimes forceful methods can be effective. Especially with pirates, because of their nature, they are definitely strongmen. It's like an instinct to survive. The older type of pirates tend to deliberately avoid confrontation and fight on the board, which they are good at. That's why proxy wars like this one started. I don't know how the girls themselves feel about it, but at least that's how many of the representatives of the guilds that elected them are. Minamata's story made some sense to Sho. After everything that had happened before, he knew that Dird and the others were people who had different values than he did. They said that this war was like a sport. But Sho couldn't see it that way. There was a huge wall of difference between him and the girls. Then Myron opened her mouth. Well, besides, people who have been in different guilds for a long time are now going to unite into one country. Of course, there are some things that can't be cleared up by just talking. The parts that aren't clear? Yes, I think it's the same discomfort that Shokuen feels with Dird and the others. That's why I want to get rid of that horny feeling. Sho and Minamata looked at each other and couldn't help but laugh. However, the fact that they chose people like Dird and the others to represent them in such a proxy war shows that they have their fangs pulled out, don't they, the current guild members? Myron said what she wanted to say and gulped down her coffee. Sho quietly walked over to Minamata and whispered, Minamata-san, I'm feeling more uncomfortable with the teacher than Dird and the others. Yeah, It's exactly the same in that we can't solve the problem by talking, but this one is much more hopeless. Arg? Did the two of you say something? No, nothing. Sho and Minamata joined their voices, and Myron narrowed her eyes quizzically. Ahem. Kokoma-kun. I understand how you feel. To be honest, I don't want to encourage you to participate in this fight, and I don't think fighting is good for you. But you're still going to participate, right? Yes. This is your last chance to turn back. If you nod again, I'll have to agree to it. Miss Myron is also a witness. Are you sure you want to be a part of this fight? Kokoma-kun. Minamata must be very worried about him. Sho could sense that. But, yes, that's why Sho nodded. Seeing Sho, Minamata breathed a huff and then smiled slightly and said, All right, I accept. Miss Myron, please inform the relevant authorities on Earth that Kokoma Shokuin's participation has been officially approved. I will inform the Galactic Federation myself. Okay. Hey Minamata, now that one of the big problems has been taken care of, we're going to celebrate Shokuin's new beginning, and we're going to. Come on, Kokoma-kun. Then let's get ready for battle. What? Where are we going? Minamata quickly ducked out of the way of Myron, who was sneaking up on him, and stood up. Shit! Myron shouted, but Sho followed Minamata's lead and stood up. Oh, one thing before we go, Kokoma-kun, can you put your right arm out in front of you? My right arm. Minamata's intentions were unknown to Sho, but he did as he was told, wondering why. Then a kabit appeared in front of him. The jewel-like object on its forehead glowed, and at the same time, a ring of light appeared around Sho's right arm, which wrapped around his wrist and disappeared. It happened in a flash. What? What was that? Naturally panicked, Sho stared at his wrist where the ring had disappeared and touched it with his left hand, but there was nothing unusual about it. Minamata laughed at Sho's appearance and replied, Haha, it's fine. That's the key to the underground base. The underground base? Yes. I'll take you there now. Come on, this way. Oh, yes. Wait, what are you trying to do? Just casually walk past me and leave me here. Hey, stop. Sho followed Minamata out of the infirmary, and Myron followed, and the three of them walked out of the school. Minamata brought Sho to a place not far from where his tent was set up, under a huge tree that stood out from the rest of the jungle. Minamata-san? Is this? Yeah. I know at first glance it looks like just an ordinary tree. This is the entrance. It's an easily recognizable tree, so it's a good landmark, right? I see. But the entrance is. Sho looks up at the huge tree that Minamata tapped. It's certainly an easily recognizable landmark at this size, but what the hell does entrance mean? Miss Myron, you didn't have to come, though. Huh. It's so sweet that you're trying to get rid of me now. I'm not going to let something like this pass me by. Well, Kokoma, put your right hand on this tree. Oh, okay. Sho's right arm disappeared as if a ring of light had been sucked into it, and he fearfully pressed his hand against the tree trunk. Then, Sho's body instantly disappeared from the spot. Minamata followed suit, and then the kabits followed and disappeared. In the blink of an eye, Myron was the only one left in the place. What? Wait, what's going on? Myron rushed up to the tree, but hit her head on the thick trunk and collapsed on the spot. The place where Sho arrived, it was a large hall, as big as a school gymnasium, with all kinds of mechanical equipment. There was a slight chill breeze flowing through the air, and his voice seemed to resonate well against the wind. Wow! Is amazing. Looks like a secret base. As he was slowly looking around, Minamata and the kabits also appeared behind him. What do you think? It's quite a spectacular place, isn't it? Yes, it kind of makes me feel like I've encountered aliens. Haha, I know what you mean. I used to be like that too. Minamata smiled somewhat nostalgically at Sho, whose eyes lit up. That tree you just saw is actually a transporter. Only those with a special code key can enter. So, Miss Myron can't get in. I see. A transporter is sounding more and more like a space civilization. Yes, it is. And here's the maintenance area for you. The girls each brought their own guild staff, but Kokoma-kun doesn't have any. So, you'll have a special group of girls to staff it. Girls. Yeah, come on, guys. Minamata said, and the Cabits jumped up and down and gathered around Sho. Are they these girls? Yeah. I'm sorry I'm late introducing them to you, but I'm sure you'll be able to count on them. Huh. Yo, nice to meet you. Sho said with confusion, and one of the Cabits, started speaking in human language. I thought that look in your eyes was incredulous. You're wondering what small animals like us can do. Oh my god, she's talking. The 4 Cabits chuckled as Sho backed away, and Minamata chuckled. Haven't you heard them speak before? Oh, yeah. Well, I saw them on once before, and, well, how come they can talk? I knew they weren't from Earth, but... okay. Then I'll show you something special. The small Cabit, M's body seemed to grow in size as it was enveloped in a pale light, and then it took on the shape of a person, an adult woman who was taller than Sho. However, she had turned her back, so he couldn't see her face. Instead, her rear, her buttocks, were in full view, but he couldn't afford to pay attention to that right now. Sho was too startled to speak. He just stood there with his mouth agape and couldn't even blink. Does this help a little, Shokuen? M's lustrous voice made Sho nod his head in exasperation. Satisfied, M transformed back into her Cabit form. Was he dreaming? However, when he slapped himself as hard as he could, the intense pain revealed that what he had just seen was not a dream. Minamata, Cabit, and the others were appalled by the sudden action. Are you okay, Kokoma-kun? Well, it's not so easy to accept. It's very similar to when Minamata-kun came to the academy. Haha. Please take it easy on me, senpai. Minamata laughed wryly, then looked at Sho, whose eyes were still glazed over, and said, I'm sorry, Kokoma-kun. I'm sure you already know this, but these girls have a lot of secrets. I can't talk about it in detail right now, but you'll just have to understand that's the way it is. In the first place, it was a surprise to see a creature that was neither a cat nor a rabbit, but it seemed that these Cabits could speak human language and, in fact, could even take human form. Of course, Sho was not ready to accept such a fantastic reality, but the situation had become a war game with aliens on a ridiculous scale. For now, he just had to believe and accept the story. So, Kokoma-kun, I'm a neutral party, and this is the only time that I'm allowed in here. So, I'll go ahead and explain the detailed rules regarding the fight. Yes. Sho replied reflexively. Then, in front of their eyes, a huge, translucent screen appeared. There was a map of the entire island on the screen. The map was divided into squares as if it were a strategic simulation game, and the squares were distributed in various colors. Is this? Yeah, it's a strategic map for combat on the island. Here, look at this. These hexagonal squares are the battle area. There are currently 4 teams in the battle. Well, 5 since you joined. The squares are color-coded, but this is the color of each team. In other words, the team with the most colors has the upper hand. And since Kokoma-kun has just joined the game, his area of influence is limited to the square where your base is located. Minamata pointed to a white square with a red. The red is each team's base point, and this is a non-combat zone. You can't attack any units here, and hostile units can't enter. It's your base, so to speak. Wow, it's kind of like a game, isn't it? Yes, it might be an easy system for you to get into, Kokoma-kun. Yes. Well, what about the other places? Can I enter squares that are a different color from my team? Sho pointed, indicating the other squares, which Minamata quickly returned. No, you can enter anywhere except your opponent's base. Just remember, if the block is the same color as your base, you'll get all sorts of advantages. For example, if you don't move from that position, you'll be stealthy and undetectable by the enemy radar. In this case, of course, you will be visible, but it's also useful for setting traps, repairing damage to yourself or your guardian if you can't get back to base, or sniping. That's why it's useful to have a lot of squares of your team's color. I see. So, I'm at a significant disadvantage now, right? Yes, you are. However, there's a certain number of blocks each team can have. Of course, you can rewrite the keys in each block so you can make it your own block, or even return it to being colorless and transparent, belonging to no one. So it's like a battle of wits, right? Yes, it is. And as for the defeat conditions for each unit, basically the only conditions are death and surrender. However, no unit has been defeated as of yet, though. Death or surrender, is it? Sho gulped, the words containing a real sense of dread. Well, Kokoma-kun, your battle begins with this one square. How about it? Do you think you can do it? Ha ha ha. Sho looked at his only block on the map and smiled weakly. If all the teams were to start taking up positions at the same time, Sho would definitely be at an overwhelming disadvantage, as he had joined late. And unlike the girls, he was the only one who could do it. Although he joined with great enthusiasm, the future looked a little bleak indeed. Don't worry, Shokuen. We'll take care of it. That's what we're supposed to do. Em said confidently, even though she looked like a cabbit. She was a being from a super civilization in space. This was very reassuring to Sho right now. Yes. Thank you very much. Hey, Minamata-kun. If you've finished your explanation, then get out of here. The cabbits shooed Minamata away with their long ears, and Minamata turned towards the transporter gate with a look of relief on his face. Okay, guys, I'll take care of the rest, and I'll leave Kokoma-kun in good hands. I understand. You might want to use the other exit when you leave. There's still a hungry golden bear at the previous entrance. Haha, got it? Minamata smiled and nodded in response to Em's warning, and it was strange to see a grown man being told what to do by a cabbit with a tone of caution like a mother or sister. Well, good luck, Kokoma-kun. If you need anything else, I'd be happy to hear from you too. Oh yes, I understand. Yeah, I'll see you later. With that, Minamata lightly raised his right hand and walked into the transporter gate, his figure instantly disappearing. Sho was surprised to see the scene. He hadn't been able to see it earlier because he was the first to be transported, but his surprise turned to excitement when he realized that it was really a transporter. That left Sho and the 4 cabbits. Sho looked at the cabbits one by one again, but he still couldn't distinguish between them. He didn't know what to call them, so he could understand now why Dird wanted to write on her forehead. Perhaps sensing the troubled look on Sho's face, Em, who was showing leadership among the 4 animals, spoke up. You look like you're not sure how to interact with us yet. Well then, since we're here, let's start with a simple self-introduction. Huh? Yes. That would be very helpful. Sho adjusted his posture firmly and followed Em's words with a chuckle. I'm Em. I don't think you'll be able to tell us apart from the way we look. Well, we have very different personalities, so I'm sure you'll get used to us. Yes. Well, Minamata-san can tell the difference, can't he? Yes, he can. I've known Minamata-kun for a long time. Then, next, F-chan. Hey, I'm F. It's nice to meet you. Shoone-chan. F replied cheerfully and stretched one of her ears with a smile. Her voice sounded somewhat childlike. Sho said, nice to meet you. F laughed and said, haha, that's funny. So, M put in a light comment. This girl is the youngest. She's kind of childish, but thanks to that, she's easy to tell apart. Yes. Then, K is next. Yes, I understand. The next person to give a small ear lift was K-chan. I'm K. I'm sure you're feeling a bit confused all of a sudden, but let's do our best together. It's nice to meet you, Sho-san. Oh, yes, it's nice to meet you too. Sho hurriedly bowed his head in response to K's polite bow. K was different from the brisk M and the energetic F. She was somewhat mature and calm, with a soft atmosphere. Sho got the impression that she was an older woman with a lot of time on her hands. The last one is D. Regards, Dee did not raise her ears in response, but bowed her head a little further away from the other three. It seemed that Dee was a bit quiet and cool. I guess that's it for introductions. What do you think, Shokuen? Do you recognize me now? Oh, yes. You can tell a lot by the way each of you speaks. So, it may be a little rude, but I would like to ask you a few questions. What? No problem. Well, I was wondering what kind of people you all are. Is there a species in the universe that speaks human language and can transform like you guys? Oh, I see what you mean. M laughed wryly. F and K had the same reaction. D remained expressionless. We're special. There's no such thing as a race of cabbits that can understand human language like us. We're special. We all have an astral. That's what makes us different from other computer units, but you wouldn't know it from. Well, I guess it's easier to say artificial life forms. Artificial life form? Well, what is astral? It's a soul. We have merged our astral, or soul, into this cabbit body, but, well, that's a secret. Maybe I can tell you about it sometime. Oh, I see. So, what is your relationship with Minamata-san? You said you've known each other for a long time. That's a private question, so I'm not going to answer it. But if you win this battle and get the right to go to space, you may learn about it later. Look forward to it. Oh, I'm sorry. I was wondering what you all thought about Minamata-san and Myron-sensei. Oh, I see what you mean. I have a problem with that woman. But there are a lot of people around Minamata who are even worse. F, K, and D nodded their heads in agreement with them. Apparently, they too were having a hard time. Well then, Shokuen, let's finish these introductions and start adjusting the Guardians. Do you mind? Yes. I look forward to working with you. Yes. Then come over here. Sho's nervousness increased at once, and as he followed M and the others, he asked another question. Oh, by the way, what is a Guardian anyway? I've been using it without really understanding it at all. The ones the girls were using were also Guardians, right? Yes. A Guardian is a force field body of energy that you wear on your body. Originally, it was a highly functional garment to protect the body. Now they're mostly operated as weapons. Wow! Clothes are now weapons, huh? It's an amazing science fiction world. Sho recalled the time when he fought Dird and the others. Surely with that much power, it would be possible to use it as a weapon. Shokuen, when you came to this island, you took some medicine at Myron's place, right? Actually, that medicine was the nanomachines needed to generate the Guardians. What? Really? I didn't know that. Sho was surprised by this shocking fact, and it was only then that he realized that he, a mere ordinary person, had been able to activate the Guardian at that time. Then Sho and the others arrived in front of a circular platform. There were many machines set up nearby, but he couldn't understand what they were. Now, Shokuen, can you stand on top of that? Yes, sir. Sho did as he was told and stood on the table. The jewel on M's forehead lit up, and a schematic-like diagram appeared on his entire body, and then a humanoid energy body appeared to surround him. Then, in front of him, small blocky objects combined and gathered to form one large wall. Whoa, hey, something just came out. Shokuen, try sticking out your hand like you're going to punch that wall. What, like punching it? Following M's words, Sho thrust his right hand vigorously toward the wall in front of him. Then, the Guardian that had been generated from Sho's body traced Sho's movement and drove a large fist into the wall, which easily shattered and disappeared. Wow, great. Yeah, but as I said before, Guardians were originally for protection. So, if your opponent also has a Guardian, you can't hurt them with a punch like you just did. Oh, so that's why Dird and the others each had a weapon? That's what I mean. They also customized their Guardians according to their own tactics and preferences. Well, as Minamata and I were talking about earlier, are you good at games, Shokuen? How about shooting games or action games? The topic came out of nowhere. Sho was puzzled by the sudden topic. Well, I like RPGs and the like, and I don't really play shooting games or action games. It's not like I'm good at, is it? Yes. So, Let's try a simulation for now. That way you can check your aptitude. We'll start by setting up the controller. What? Whoa! Sho, who has been in a constant state of amazement since earlier, saw two round objects in his hand that had a hard feel to them. Each of them had buttons on them. It looked like a spherical mouse. Hold it. I think there are two buttons on your thumb. The right one is Vulcan and the left one is Sword while you hold it down. Hey, that's not the same one I used before, is it? Yes, when he first used the Guardian to fight the girls. It didn't have a button like this. Yes, I thought it would be easier to use this way, so I customized it for you. Now, go ahead and try it out. I see. It's like a game controller, but easier to use. I understand. Nodding to Sho, M continued to explain. Since we're assuming a ground battle at first, I've made sure that the Guardian's controls trace Shokuin's body movements, just like how you punched the wall earlier. I'll give you a target, and you can try to destroy it without weapons at first. Right, got it? Sho's heart began to pound, and even though it was a simulation, a sense of tension ran through his body. A block appeared in front of Sho, and it transformed into a simple doll. Sho tried punching and kicking, but since he was an amateur fighter, his movements were naturally awkward and unskillful. Sho himself knew that very well, and he felt a little embarrassed to be seen by the Kabbits looking so uncool. Don't worry about it, Shokuin. This is just a Guardian adjustment. Yes, the next step is to attack the enemy with the Vulcan. After that, approach and melee attack with your sword. Understood? Yes. Then we'll do a more realistic simulation. Then the scenery outside was projected on the surrounding walls, and a collection of blocks in the shape of the same dolls as before flew in from the distance. It was as if the inside of the base had instantly become a battlefield. Whoa! It's really amazingly realistic. Look, there's a lot of them coming, Shokuin. M said, and Sho looked ahead, hurriedly manipulating the controller in his hand. The first thing he did was to fire the Vulcan. But the enemy avoided it with a flutter and approached him without dropping most of their speed. So Sho continued to attack with his unfamiliar sword, but most of his attacks were also avoided. He was desperate to track the enemy with his eyes. Shokuin, look at the enemy carefully. Pay attention not only to the front, but also to the sides and back. Yes, he replied, but he was at the mercy of the enemy and was in a panic. And so Sho repeated several patterns of combat simulations, from simple to complex, for a little over an hour. Sho hadn't been paying attention to the passage of time during the battle, but when it was over, he was surprised to find that only a little more time had passed. Okay, Guardian synchronization is normal, okay? Can we move on? Yes, there's nothing wrong with your physical. Okay. Sho, good luck. Yes, sir. And so Sho went through many simulations with M and the other Kabbits in order to get used to the Guardian system. About 2 hours later, Sho was slumped on the sofa, wiping off his sweat with a towel and sipping on the sports drink that the Kabbits had prepared for him. The Kabbits were gathered in front of the machine terminal, looking at the monitor and discussing something. Eventually, they finished their conversation and the girls popped over to Sho. Good work, Shokuin. We've got a lot of data. It's our first day, so we should leave it at that. Yes, sir. Thank you for your hard work. Sho's face did not clear up. Maybe that's why M and the others nodded their heads in wonder. You know, I'm a little unsure about this. When I think of the way Dird and the others fought before, my movements were not even close to. Sho-san, there's no way you can do it all at once. Please don't be so depressed. Kei offered some words of comfort, but they made Sho feel even more miserable. Then M asked, So, do you want to get off after all? It is. Sho's feelings were telling him that he didn't want to quit. But it was true that he wasn't sure, and he felt very ashamed of himself. Kei is right, Shokuin. Besides, the customization of the Guardian is still in its infancy. It's a lot of work to be able to evade, defend, and attack, but even Dird and the others aren't doing it all on their own. Of course, Shokuen himself needs to train more. Yes. Is there any other training I can do besides simulations? Yes. In your case, the first thing you should do is increase your basic physical strength. But for this, I suggest you continue with your current lifestyle. Even though you're doing the housework, finding food, and having Dird and the others help you, that alone should be pretty hard work. You're right, I still have a lot of sore muscles. You should try to be a little creative in your daily work. For example, when you're poking a harpoon, try targeting a fast-moving fish or dive a little deeper. There are many things you can do, like picking fruits from tall trees. And now that you have the guardian, even if you fall out of a tree, you won't get hurt. I see, Shohummed at M's opinion and decided to try to incorporate it right away. But you have to be careful, M-chan. It's true that it's good to not get injured, but to do so recklessly or to get so used to it that you lose your sense of urgency is the most terrible thing in a fight. Kay came into the conversation as if to chide her. M responded with a straightforward, "That's right," and then continued. Then, let's keep the Guardian's activation level to a minimum. What do you mean by minimum? For now, it's just the level to avoid brain damage. Ugh. I'll be careful. Although Sho announced his participation in the tournament with vigor, he felt a little uneasy.